All right, so we are here with Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks guys for coming to see me.
Did race define intelligence back then or not? Good.
I assume that would have been the prevailing thought process when I was in school. There were no minorities in my school, so I didn't have any firsthand experience with that or that attitude. I guess it would have been a stereotype of the era I lived in, though. I would say that would be true.
So you say that you had no minorities in your school. So when you went, when was your first time coming to a school that had minorities?
Well, obviously, when I went into the Navy, of course, the Navy is very diverse. So then I obviously came in contact with other races or ethnicities.
Did you have any thought about race, like when people would tell you minorities are for example Mexicans, they're pretty not intelligent. Have people ever told you that? And
No, I've never known anything like that. Where I'm from in Iowa, it was black and white, and so there weren't any other real minorities to speak of. And I think that's the way society saw minorities for a long time, as black and white. Not thinking of Asian people, not thinking of Mexican people or women, or anything else that we might consider minorities today. It was really just black and white. And so I think it was very stereotypical attitudes towards black people. Dumb, basketball, foods, certain foods, not a hard worker, all those types of things. Those would have been the prevailing attitudes when I grew up. But I didn't really grow up with any black people, so I couldn't prove or disprove any of that. And we weren't allowed to have those attitudes in my house. So that makes a difference too.
So you raised your kids to be more diverse and open-minded?
Absolutely. I was raised open-minded, so of course I've raised my kids to be open-minded. And so obviously my kids went to school here, so really here it's like 99% Mexican people. So really we could say our kids are kind of closed-minded too, because there's not diversity in our school. So that's a difficult thing. You can only deal with what you have to deal with, and that's what we have.
Do you think the school is helping to open people's minds to different things, different ideas?
I think there's only so much the school can do. I think it's up to us as teachers to, relate to our students of having an open mind and being respectful of all people, regardless of their situation, whether it be gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity. I think if we can at least teach our students to be respectful of all of those types of situations, that's a good thing. But we can't control what happens when they leave here and they go home. So I think it's really important. It's more important with the parents to teach their kids, more so than the teachers.
And so, would teachers have the fault of having a strong opinion on something and that affecting the kid, but it's not the teacher's fault because they've learned it from wherever they
They've learned it from wherever they learned it from, whether it be home or school or whatever. I think we have as teachers have to be very careful about imposing our strong opinions. However, I think it's only fair to our young people that we let them know our true feelings as people. At the same time, though, we need to always say, and I'm very careful, I hope, to say this, although I feel this way, I am respectful of whatever the situation is. And I hope that I always do end whatever conversation we have with that although I may agree or disagree, I still should respect the opposite opinion. And I hope I do that.
Does expectation of a person kill intelligence? Like, let's say you meet a person and expect somebody to be this way, but then it turned out they're another way, and you're wow.
I think I understand what you mean. I don't always think that's fair. I think we are guilty of that. I think even growing up myself, and I think we do that sometimes. Especially in our school. So I think sometimes we do have those expectations, and I suppose it's not always fair to have those. But I do think we just naturally do that, and maybe that's not fair. But I do think we do that. I'm probably guilty of it as well.
We all are.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Mr. Wright.
Thank you guys. Hope I help you out.